All right, mic check, mic check.
Mic check,
More Than
mic
Masters
check.
podcast. Oh, no, just me this time. More Than Masters podcast. Your host, Maine, of course. I got a special guest across from me, Mr. Michael Thurman. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, even though I just said your name. Tell the people your name, you know, what you're doing, and kind of what you're running for right now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Michael Thurman. I appreciate you having me tonight.
Of course.
I'm running for commissioner for District 1. Born and raised here in Augusta, Georgia. I've got a wife of 17 years, Angela, and 3 beautiful children, twin boys who just turned 6 a couple days ago, and my daughter
birthday.
Addison, who's 11. Oh, we had a blast. We took them to Chuck E. Cheese. That was good times. Good times.
I know it's hard to even celebrate things right now with all that's going on, so it's like, you know, kind of gotta weigh options out. Right now, I want to ask a few questions about just the district real quick. What is District 1? Like what area does that surround?
Well, District 1 is most of Sand Hills. It is Harrisburg, downtown, Old Town, and then it goes all the way out to Eastview Avenue, Eastview neighborhood, and then all the way out Highway 56 to Apple Valley, and then a couple little neighborhoods past there. It's a weird design. Yeah, so
about to say that's like it's like it's two different sides of town.
Yeah, it is.
Apple Valley, that's over my.
It just follows the river all the way around. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't know if you know, like, how do y'all determine like the district? Just a map or there or something like that?
Every 10 years, the census is done. So everybody listening, make sure you report your census numbers. Sign up for the census because
that's why they're important,
matter.
Huh?
Yeah, they are. And so they look at that and they try to divide by the number of people. And back in the day, they did it a lot based on race as well.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm not assuming they're going to do a lot of that this time. But.
Yeah, I guess, you know, race is a little touchy now, so they're going to kind of fall back on that. I guess before I get into the actual district, one question I got, I want to ask more about you first real quick. So you say you were born and raised in Augusta.
Yeah, actually, right. I grew up off Meadowbrook Drive, went to Butler High School and Augusta College.
Well, you went to Butler?
I did.
Okay.
88.
Okay, I don't know if you know, I'm just going to throw this out there. No Slim Boy going to say something to me, but my brother got the all-time scoring record at Butler High, so shout out to him.
I didn't know that. Good.
Yeah, you know, a little something. I guess describe to me real quick, like, what was Augusta like back in them time when you went? And I'm very intrigued and engaged in like history. Mm-hmm. So anybody tell you my job or anybody know me, I get yearbooks. I have like 1990 yearbook, 1992. I don't know them personally, and then I see them at my job. I'm like, yo, I know that person. You know, I don't know them, but I guess the history of it, I've always been intrigued in that. So what was I guess Butler High like back then in '88? I guess '84 to 88. I'm assuming it took you 4 years. So yeah.
I loved it. We had just been rezoned. My brother, who's 8 years older than me, actually went to Glen Hills, even though we didn't move. They just rezoned the district.
Probably that census.
Yeah, but well, it's the school board a little bit different, but yeah, same concept. One had too many people, so they moved us over to Butler, and so I spent all of my years at Butler, all 4 years of high school, and in the neighborhood I lived in, it was about 70% black, 30% white. But we didn't care. We grew up together. I'd gone to Windsor Spring and Seago with the same people, and we all got along. We didn't.
So you went to Windsor Spring, Seago, and Butler.
Yeah. So we just didn't have issues with race. Everybody got along. We were all groups of people, and we just enjoyed spending time with each other.
Well, you know what I could say, just share my experience with you on that is, when I did move down here in '06 and I went to Butler, it was like a culture shock for me because I have a different kind of like look out view on that, because in New York when I went to school, all people like me. Yeah, it was like maybe 1 or 2, 3, maybe 10 in the school.
Really?
You know, so you don't notice it. When I came there, I was like, okay, wow, this is very cultured here. You know, and it's not culture, but it's like it's a mixture of races at the school. So even you saying that, like, that 70-30 is way more, is I don't know, it's more than what I'm used to. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of different to me to see that many white and blacks in the same school. But it was the same. Everybody was cool with everybody pretty much. It's Butler though. Like, other schools were different. I went to Josie too.
Well, somebody told me one
different
time,
over there.
When do people start seeing color? When do kids start seeing color? As soon as somebody tells them that there's a difference. That's
probably I can see that. I didn't see it, and I was never on like that because I always saw me everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I went. So I don't have that until I came down here. I didn't have that. And it's the South. I mean, South it has a different history than the North, which obviously I guess too that kind of explains why I didn't have that, because we don't have that history up there like that. But I guess okay. So for you, you went to Butler. You went to Augusta College. You said.
Yeah, I went to Augusta College, and I started working at the UPS at 18, and I was paying rent, and I got tired of paying rent because there's nothing. Once you pay that rent check, you don't have. You're there. You're good for 30 days, and then you got to pay another one. There's nothing to show for it. So I wanted to buy a house, and I went to a bank. I found a house that I thought was nice and I wanted, and they looked at me and thought I was crazy. 18-year-old, we're not going to loan you money for a house. But after talking with the people a lot, I found out they had some repossessed houses in Apple Valley, and so they would let me acquire one with no money down, and just start making payments. And but it was all the windows were busted out, the doors were kicked in, kids had gone in there and just destroyed things.
So you had to go remodel it or something like that?
So I had to fix it up, and but it was all I could afford. It was either that or rent an apartment. And again, I didn't like throwing that money away. So I started. I'd go get up at 3:30 in the morning to be at work at UPS at 4. I'd get off between 8:30, 8:45, and I'd be at school at 9. I'd go to classes till about noon, sometimes 1 o'clock. I'd go home, work on my house for a couple hours, fall asleep, repeat, do that Monday through Friday.
Gotcha. So a little grind. And I always wondered that because, like I said, when you see somebody sometime, right, and I'll get to that in a second. I've known you for a little while, so when I see you now, I'm not thinking about like the years how you got to where you at. I just see where you at.
Right.
So sometimes you see somebody, and to me, I'm younger. To me, people might seem well off, and you don't know like how much they worked. You know what I'm saying? So even you saying that, like repeat, it's like you went through a grind.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Like people like me, I don't know the people I know. We automatically assume when somebody does, are well off, that they just always been like that. Like I never looked into.
I sure wish I started that.
I never looked into how you might have been able to. Be well off or, be as comfortable as you are. So,
well, my dad retired from the military in 69 and I was born in 70. And we lived on Meadowbrook and, I wore my brother's hand-me-downs. He was 8 years older. And so, I never went hungry, but we didn't have much money. And,
but that's probably why you didn't want to pay rent. You probably just wanted to.
Yeah, it was just every penny.
But somebody, we'll talk about that in a minute. The home thing you mentioned was very important to me. So at one point, so you went to school. What did you go to school for?
I was going to be computer science.
Oh, you were going to be
a computer programmer. I did it for a few years, but then when I got into houses so much, I just I stopped doing that and just kept working on houses.
So you actually you started to do that, and you started to do it more often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now it's easier too because you can get on YouTube and learn how to do anything.
No, you should have said that.
But back then, we didn't have the internet, so I had a Reader's Digest how-to book, and it was very vague. It was very vague.
So a lot of try and fail, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I zapped myself a few times working on electricity and busted a couple pipes working on plumbing, but I learned. Trial and error.
So I guess at what point do you say, I want to kind of run a district? I want to. How do you make that flip from doing the housing to doing that? Like, what sparked that in you?
Well, once I had 4 houses in Apple Valley. I bought one a year through the same type thing because they kept having houses that people were just letting go. And so once I had 4 of them, and I just decided I was going to expand a little bit. So I went and started doing some stuff over on Central Avenue, and I got married. My wife, Angela, and we just started raising our family. Our kids go to Richmond County schools, and I'm looking around. They go to C.T. Walker, 2 of them do, and my daughter just got into Johnson.
Okay.
And so riding down there and seeing all the dilapidated homes, all the empty lots, watching the news and seeing all the shootings and all the different things going on, how the police are paid poorly here in Richmond County, even though they work harder than any other counties around.
Surrounding areas, right?
And just seeing all the problems that are there, and realizing that I have been revitalizing areas for 30 years, and I thought, well, this should be simple. I joined the Housing Community Development Board, and that's they're the ones who give out grants to people and loans to people to fix up properties.
Right.
And they're part of the revitalization that's been happening in the Laney Walker area with all the new houses you see popping up over there. And so once I got on that board, or learned about the board and learned about what was going on, I thought, these are problems I have been solving on my own on small scale. So if I can start to motivate other people to do what I did, buy an ugly house, get it for next to nothing, fix it up and make it your house, then that's one of the biggest problems that District 1 has. So I can help give seminars. I can do different things to motivate people. Now that I'm on the Housing Community Development Board, I can show people how to fill out the applications to get the loans and the grants to help fix up their houses.
Well, I think that part is key. If that's like one of the top issues in that district, and you're like the scene, because everybody that knows you know that housing is your thing. Like you're good with that, great with that. I think it'd be dope to be able to get that to the people. You know, the information to the people. I say that a lot of times. Like we have these problems, these issues, and you have people that's strong in that particular field, but people don't know that and they can't get that information out. So if you could do that, I think that'd be amazing.
Well, a lot of the information has been out there, but it doesn't spread well because there's only so much money. So sometimes people that know about it don't necessarily want other people to know about it because they want to keep it to themselves. They want to get as much money as they can. Now, it has nothing to do with the housing department. Hawthorne Welcher and his people are trying hard to get the information out there, but it takes the other people in the area to spread the word and explain some of the big terms and the different things that are going on there. And that's what I want to do. I'm going to have, once elected, I'm going to have quarterly meetings, and we're going to talk about the problems in the area, because there's going to be new ones every quarter. Just when you fix the problems you have now, new ones are going to be there tomorrow.
That's the way the world works.
It is.
You focus on one problem, another one arises. That's just how it goes.
But I've talked with a lot of people from the tax assessor's office to housing community development, and we're gonna have meetings where we teach about acquiring houses. We're going to have people from the banks there to help people clean up their credit. And one of the easiest ways I found to buy some houses were just to go to someone. Let's say your grandmother passed away, and you got the house, but it's in bad shape, and there's just nothing you can do with it. So your only alternative really is to sell it, but you don't see anybody wanting it.
Right.
Well, somebody like me when I was younger, coming up to you and saying, "Hey, let me buy the house. You own or finance. We set it up for 30 years or 20 years, but it balloons in 2 or 3. So that gives me motivation to fix it up in a couple of years and get a bank note on it or some other financing. The terms could be as high as 10% interest. So you're making money off the interest along with getting payments, but I'm fixing it up. And once it's fixed up, I get it rented or move into it. Depending on what direction you're wanting to go with that, then I can pay you off, or you might like the idea of just getting 10% for a few more years.
Right.
Because it's more, you were getting nothing with it empty.
Pretty much, yeah.
People were going to be vandalizing it, and it was going to be just going downhill. So it's a win for you because this thing you inherited is starting to bring you some money. It's a win for the person fixing it up because not only are they building a nest egg for themselves, they're building a source of income if it's rental, or building what could possibly be their dream home.
Right.
That's the American dream, is to have a house, 2 kids, and a dog.
That's what they say. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 kids, so
I got you.
I don't like dogs though. But I saw housing. Right. I feel like in District 1 or any district, but District 1, I feel like with you, I think housing, that being an issue, it's sealed. Like you know how that's something you 100%, 110% know how to do.
I am
right?
going to bust my butt to make sure that we get as many of the dilapidated houses repaired or torn down, and then get more people in the area. Because what pays for school, what pays teacher salary is taxes. The SPLOST money that we do for the education SPLOST, that only goes to paying for new schools and computers. You cannot pay a teacher salary out of that. Mm-hmm. So if you want to pay your teachers well and you need the schools to have what they need, then you need people living in that area. So Josie and Lucy C. Laney and all the other schools over there, they're hurting because they don't have a lot of people going to them, and they don't have a lot of money coming in from the taxes around there.
Would Josie be District 1?
It's right outside District 1. Some of the way the district's designed, I think some people that live in Josie would be. In District 1 would be going to.
Yeah,
Josie.
okay. I always wonder.
They're right there close together.
I'm thinking about doing something, and I've talked to my cameraman about it too. Where we ride around, because there's a lot of really messed up property. Yeah. I'm talking about just across the street from Josie. Like you just ride around, and it look like somewhere you don't want to be. Like Josie, to me, I love the school. I love going. I went there for a year. It was amazing, but for the kids that gotta walk to school.
Yeah.
I don't see how you walk past that and then you be ready to go to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks horrible over there.
Well, we did a cleanup a couple weeks ago with Black Lives Matter, the CSRA, and they've changed their name recently to Black, BLACC. And it was on Twig Street, so they did Twig Circle, which was a couple of roundabouts over there. And I was speaking to a lady who got one of the houses from Housing and Community Development, real nice house right there. And she said, when are y'all going to finish between here and the schools so that my kids can walk to school? We're close, but I'm scared to let them walk to school with what's going on in the neighborhood.
Yes.
Yeah. And I said, well, that's one of the main things I want to do. I want to use a combination of housing community development to build houses, let's say on the four corners of a street. And then I want to fill in between those houses with market rate housing, $150,000 houses that people will buy. And so you'll get so-and-so builder who will build these houses.
Right.
Because you'll get a lot more of those if you have cleaned up the area and have things on the four corners to make it more attractive.
Aside from just housing, what other issues do you see for yourself, just in your opinion, that you plan to address or you feel like needs to be addressed in District 1?
Well, District 1 has been really neglected as far as stormwater. It floods in several of the areas just about every time it rains, especially in Eastview. And
before you even get past that, flooding, like what issues arrive like from flooding, like being that like what does it do, like as far as like people houses and just
well, actually Dolly Jones, who was running for commissioner before the runoff, who's endorsed me, by the way, she sent me some pictures a couple weeks ago of the rain. She had inches, 4 or 5 inches of water in her backyard. My kids probably would have had fun playing back there. But it floods every time it rains. There's nowhere for it to go. It gets in people's houses sometimes. A friend of mine owns some rental property down there, and he came and borrowed some fans and vacuums from me because one of his rental houses, the water it rained so much it just went in their house. And we've got the stormwater fee. We've had it for several years now, and it just seems to be very slow going as far as solving some of the big problems. And so I really want to make sure that the money's being spent wisely.
Why do you think it's been so slow?
There's a couple reasons. One, it takes time to design and implement. And two, they spend a lot of money from the stormwater fee cutting grass. That it makes sense that you got to keep grass cut so that the ditches will allow the water to flow. Right. But they spend upwards of $2,000 a mile. They pay people to cut grass.
I need to buy me a lawnmower then.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if you pay 3 people $18 an hour, which you don't pay that much usually for people to cut grass, but easy math, 3 people $18 an hour, that's about, and you can do a mile in a day easy, sometimes a mile and a half, but let's just say a mile a day. That's $500 that you're paying those people, but you just made $2,000. So there's some good money to be made doing that. They didn't bid that out. They most everything the city does, we bid it out, and we let the people who are qualified at the lowest price come and get the different jobs. In this one, there was more of a first come, first serve, and we're just spending a lot more money than we need to. We need to do is start bidding that job. You'll probably get people willing to do it for, and this is a guess, $1,000. They're still doubling their money.
Right.
And we can get twice as much done, or for the same amount of money, or spend half as much for the same amount we get. And it's $1.2 million a year they're spending on this.
So kind of more so, not the best decision making and kind of like a budgeting kind of issue, right. I would assume.
And some of it's just bad communication. There's a lot to be done. Augusta they're still finding wooden pipes here and there. A lot of the sewer and stormwater are still mixed together. So you're getting stormwater going to the sewer plant on Marvin Griffin Road, right off Marvin Griffin Road, and then you're getting some of the sewer actually going into to the river, which is unhealthy as well.
I guess I want to ask too before I ask. I know we talked about the issue. How do you address? Because like you said, once you solve an issue, there's another issue, and there's gonna be a bunch of issues anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I can tell you name 3, but it's probably 50 issues you could just think of. You know what I'm saying? How do you determine like which is important to who? And how do you determine what's important to the district?
Well, you think about What's most important thing, other than breathing, is eating. So District 1 has a food desert. And I was challenged a few weeks ago to come up with a temporary solution, because the solution for the food desert is, of course, a grocery store. But we've had a negative amount of people moving into the area, which means we lose people every year. So it becomes less and less attractive for a food store to move in rather than more. So the idea of getting a food store in would be getting more people living in the area, more rooftops, more money being spent in the area, the more attractive it is for a grocery store. But since that's not happening yet, we've done some building. They've got a couple apartment complexes and some houses, but still a long way, thousands upon thousands of empty lots and dilapidated homes in that area. So until that happens, until we can get more people moving in the area, the two ideas that I've come up with, number one, the bus system. In order to go, you could get a bus from down there to Kroger on Washington Road or Bilo on Wrightsboro Road, but it's going to take you several transfers and a whole lot of time. And the bus system, I think you're limited to 2 bags, and so you can't get many groceries in 2 bags.
Yeah, definitely not.
So what I thought we would do, and I've got a call into Kroger and calls into Augusta Transit, is do a specific route on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, just for a few hours. Doesn't have to be all day. And Kroger, I'm going to get Kroger to help pay for some of the costs, because all you have to pay, the city already has the bus, so all you have to pay is for the person driving it and the gas being used. So get Kroger to do it. Maybe the city can help, or we can get private people donating. But start at Kroger, a couple stops down on Broad Street in Harrisburg area. Go down to East Boundary, a couple stops down there. You'll get Old Town and you'll get Eastview. Then come back up Laney Walker, a couple stops there. You'll get all those areas there that people are. You can go up and get Sand Hills down Montesano.
Yeah.
And then come back through, go back up Washington Road, and you're at Kroger. And just make that loop 2, 3, 4 times on those days, and disregard the 2-bag limit, and that'll allow people to get the food they need and get it back to their house. Because if you can't get the food to the people, then get the people to the food.
No, I think that's a good idea, and I think I remember you. I think we spoke about it before, and I think that's a good idea. I haven't seen some of the pictures you got of how you plan to even put that in place. Would that be would that actually be a budget issue? Like, I guess I didn't ask that question, but like as the commissioner, like what could you do that? Would you have the power to like have the bus have the bus do X, Y, Z instead?
As a commissioner, no. But if I can get 5 other commissioners, because it takes 6 commissioners to do anything.
Okay.
If there's 10 of us,
I didn't even know that. So you said it takes 6 of y'all to do anything.
It takes 6 to do anything.
What do you mean? Like what's the rule?
There's 6. There's 10 commissioners, so you have to have a majority.
Wow.
So a majority is 6.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And that's the big problem, because you get too many people up there with different ideas. They don't talk to each other. They call each other stupid during the commission meetings while people are watching.
I've watched a few. Yeah, I watched a few of them. When I want to laugh, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I do watch it every now and then. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you.
Yeah.
So it's different.
But if I can get 5 other commissioners to agree, then we can make that happen. If I can't, then we're going to go the private route. We're going to talk. There's several private bus services here in town, and we're going to get private individuals to pay for it, and we're going to charter a bus. And at that point, we may only be able to do it once or twice a week, but we're going to charter a bus, and we're going to go around that same area, and we're going to get these people food, because most of them get assistance or have jobs but just can't drive.
Can't drive.
A lot of different situations, and so getting people to the food is the way to go, because they don't have all day to transfer from this bus to this bus. What if they're 5 minutes or 30 seconds late getting there and the bus is taken off? Then it could really throw them off.
But let me ask this, though. Okay. For District 1, were you the only one challenged with making this?
It was a private challenge.
Okay.
It was a private challenge. Vaughn Pouncey, actually, who was another person who was running but didn't make the runoff. She came from nowhere with just a few votes shy of Jordan getting the second place, and she's an impressive lady. And she just challenged me to come up with some other ideas, since we can't just make a grocery store happen. There is a grocery store coming, though. Housing Community Development has been talking with a grocery store from New Jersey. It's a Good Foods Market, and their concept is to be close to a dollar store. So they're not going to provide soap and detergent and all those things. All they're going to provide is meat and fresh fruits and vegetables and some pre-made stuff. So we're talking about 1,500 square foot building, very small, very small. And people can get their stuff there. They give sometimes time and 1.5 times credit for EBT cards and SNAP. So people will be able to get good value, and they hire from people in the neighborhood. So
that's
it'll
good.
Some jobs. Good. But it's we're courting them right now. It's been a lot of good things have been said, but nothing's been set in stone. But since we can't do that, the second idea, and I've talked with several people in the area, several businesses in the area about doing it, is a pull-behind trailer that's air conditioned. That's not air conditioned. That's refrigerated, so that you can have fresh fruits and produce as well as meat. And I'm trying to team up with some butchers in the area that accept EBT cards, so that we can use their already being part of the program, and we can go to 2 or 3 different places in the area. Like maybe on Mondays we'll be in East Boundary. We have to find land that we can park on and a source of electricity to be able to run the vehicle, or generators, and those are loud, and we just don't want to deal with that. But when that came out on Facebook, I got several different businesses contacting me about setting up their vehicles there. So
that'd be a good idea.
So you'd be able to buy your fresh meat, but next to there might be a barbecue place cooking their meat, or there's a lot of vehicles, a lot of I'm trying to think, what do you call those things? The mobile restaurants.
Yeah. I know. I eat Jamaica Way a lot, and they do that sometimes. I knew about them before they actually had a building. They just were driving around.
But that gives them a place where they can go, and there will be people. So it's a really good idea to do that. And that we can do one in that area, one in Laney Walker, and we can do it on city-owned land, or we can do it on private land. Depending on how well it is, the people doing it could make enough money where they could buy some land and make it a permanent thing. Food trucks. That's the term I was looking for. Food trucks. And North Augusta had a once a month thing where they had a bunch of food trucks go to one place over there.
Yeah, but I lived over there for a little while. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and so it was just someone else taking my idea and going forward with it. And I say my idea, I got the idea from doing some research and seeing that people were doing it elsewhere. I don't want credit for it. I need to take a little bit. I need to talk about it because I'm running for office. But throughout my life, I don't need the credit for what I'm doing. I want my kids to move back to Augusta when they're finished school. I want them to do well in school while they're here. So my reason for doing all this is just to better Augusta for my children and your children and everybody who lives here.
So we got food, we got stormwater, housing. I know I wanted 3. That's 2. As far as issues for District 1, what's another issue?
Safety is a huge thing. I was on Sheriff Roundtree's advisory board, and that was a lot of fun. I recommend anybody listening, talk to your commissioner, go on his advisory board, because they train you. You do 11 weeks. You go to the jail. You have the narcotics division come and talk to you. You go with the traffic division. You get to drive the cars. You get to shoot the guns out at their shooting range. But you learn a lot about what police officers go through.
And you said this is called what?
It's the Citizens Advisory Board. Sheriff Roundtree puts it on. He does 2 a year. One where you're actually an advisory board, and the other is a Citizens Police Academy, where they just show you what they do, what they run into on a daily basis.
Got you.
And you learn a lot. And so I did a lot of ride-alongs with police officers during and after that to get a feel for what they need, because their budget has been much lower than the sheriff has been asking. And talking to the deputies, they say, yeah, Columbia County, they make more than us, and they do 1/10 the calls we do. And that just, you work. If you could make more money on an easier but similar job,
I'm going over there.
You're going over there.
100%.
So we're paying for their training. We're putting them on the road. Once they get some experience, all that's, down the toilet because they've gone to another agency. So we have to hire somebody else and pay for all their training and give them experience, and then they go somewhere else.
Yeah, but I said they're going to leave again anyways.
I wish I had the numbers in front of me. I should have brought them with me, but there are very few people working at the sheriff's office that have been there more than 10 years. And you get experience. Once you hit 20 years plus, you're really experienced in ways that a lot of people may not be. So you can handle different situations, or you're somebody that other officers can call when there's situations. And the sheriff needs that. He needs more people. And if we keep losing them to the other counties, we're constantly, and we have great people. Don't get me wrong. I love Richmond County Sheriff's Office. They have helped me out quite a bit. But he needs, if you're working the hardest in Richmond County, you should be getting paid the most to work in Richmond County.
I'm curious now that you mentioned that. 'Cause I remember reading something about that a while back, about how at one point they had a great number just leave, quit, and you know, pretty much go to the Columbia County because there's more money over there, or even just not even go nowhere, just
Burke County,
quit
because
Burke County the same way. I'm curious to how that would be with I'm a fan of community policing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with all new people.
You're right.
Because now, like how you talking and you're able to tell me these back streets. I was paying attention when you was telling me your plan. On the top of your head, you tell me all the streets, where you going, this, that, and third. So you already know the system. Even though you don't necessarily ride the bus, you know the routes. Right. You know that. You only get that from experience. As a police officer, if you don't have that experience to, walk that beat or be in that area for a good number of years or a good amount of time, it's not conducive to the community growing as a community. I think that may be why we have some of the issues we have also, and lack of experience. One
of the things that we started was we were going to do a COP program, COP, Citizens on Patrol. They were going to give us, and David Dunnigan, and who's a friend of mine, and myself went through 40 hours, spent a whole week away from our jobs, going out to the sheriff's training camp and learning basic things, so that we could drive around in these marked cars in the different areas, and we could be eyes and ears for the police. We'd talk to the people in the area, make sure we got their information to whoever needed it, and it would be a buffer between hardened police officers, and that may not be the right word to use, but who may treat everyday individuals a little different, and the everyday individuals.
Right.
So
right.
we're just them. We just happen to be driving around in the car. We've got a little experience. We're able to use the radios to call in things and just be more of a presence there. And it's very similar to what you see down on Broad Street now with the yellow shirts. The people, they don't carry guns. They work for the sheriff's department, but we wouldn't be paid, and it would just be volunteer hours. But we were going to expand it to 10 or 15 different people. It didn't take off because of budget cuts and different things that were happening, but it's still a good idea. It's more community policing. It's letting people know that the police are there for you, and being able to sometimes translate between the police and regular people, because cop gets in there, what he sees as a very dire thing may not be that way, but everybody's adrenaline's going,
right.
and so we want to make sure that as much as possible, we have very few incidents like have been happening all over the nation.
I guess I'm kind of curious too to ask about, like you mentioned, like budget cuts. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you can't do certain programs. If a program or something is successful, is there like nobody in place, I guess, to like make sure that stays? Even if it is a budget cut issue, like I guess why would we cut something that may be conducive to the community at some point, like later on?
I don't know. That's one of the reasons I'm running for commissioner, because the fire department, very important. Sheriff's department, I mean, you can put out your own fire, you can build another house. Somebody shoots you and kills you, you're done. So sheriff's department is incredibly important. I want the best of the best of the best there. And I've always been respectful of the police, and it's a job I wouldn't do. I mean, I never had a dream of being a police officer. And once I rode along with them and some of the things they deal with, I would never want to. But as a commissioner, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to fight to get 5 more votes, because I can't promise anything unless I can get 5 more votes to make sure that the sheriff's office is funded. He he cut, and again, I wish I had my figures with me. He cut between 30 and 50 positions in 19 so that he could give his officers a raise because he was short that many positions. He's short another 30 or 40 more this year. So, and these were, with COVID, I haven't done a lot of, been given a lot of updates, been doing a lot of meetings like I normally would, but that's the way it was 6 months ago. I'm not sure where the numbers are now. But they were behind last year, cut them. They're more behind this year. We need people. Talking to some people the other day, are like, well, more police aren't the answer. Well, I think that more trained police officers and better understanding with the community and police, like you're saying, community policing is a great idea. But also making sure that people have opportunities. Kids need something to do after school. And a lot of places, they don't have that. Dias Park, which is in District 1, is closed now. The park is there, but their game room and all, it was condemned. There's a lot of schools down there that we could open their gyms in the afternoons and give kids places to go. And a few of the schools have after-school programs like that. But there's Shabazz Ali is someone who's really been wanting to build some new facilities down there. And I had lunch with him a few weeks ago and said, why don't we use the schools? Because they already have the facilities. I never thought about that.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, so they're there. All we have to do is get permission from the school. Now, the Board of Education and the commissioners haven't always worked together very closely. That needs to change. We are all elected by the citizens of Richmond County, and we can work together to solve a lot of our problems. There's probably things that the county has that the school system wouldn't have to pay for, and vice versa, whether it's lifts or tractors, just different kind of vehicles, people, manpower, the police. There's a lot of things that we could cooperate with and save some money.
Even, talking about safety and police and just crime in that realm, I've seen clips, and I've been around the area, like Holden, where it's changed now. It looks very different. It's been in the past some heinous crimes over there. Yeah. That has cut down tremendously. And from the news articles I've seen, a lot of credit has been given to you for that. Even the citizens in that area have given credit to you for doing that.
And well, we've done it together. That's very kind of them and you to say. But we work together to just see where the problems were and make sure that the police knew where the problems were. If we couldn't, and I know you've probably come across this where you see something happen, you say, hey, what are you doing? And instead of them being scared, they challenge you. And so some of the people there were scared to be challenged after they say once or twice, quit dealing drugs or whatever, and the people scare them, then they would just call me, and I would call the police and have them come down there and sometimes catch people in the act, and other times they just get so tired of seeing the police up and down the street that they just decided to move their operations elsewhere.
So, I guess that's my question to you. Like, now that you're running, like, do you feel like it's kind of like a lose-lose situation, so to speak? And I say that to say, like, if you fight crime, and especially in the area where it's the percentage is a certain race, it's almost like as if you're going at a black race or something like that. And then if you don't, it's like you allow it to happen.
Right.
So it's like, do you ever win in that situation? You personally, like you.
I think most people, when they see, it was brought up about a week ago. It was brought up. You had, because of you and the people in the area, people were arrested for doing bad things, and I said yes. Well, that's terrible. This person was saying, because you've now put more black people in jail. You've added to the problems of the system. Well, people who do really bad things like murder and rape, they need to go to jail. There's no doubt about that. Now, being arrested and getting convicted of a felony are two entirely different things. So I
Correct.
firmly believe that, number one, we need to have things for kids to do so they don't get in trouble. We need to make sure that people have jobs so they don't have to resort to stealing and so forth in order to feed their families.
Right.
So those are things we really need to focus on, absolutely. But once someone is arrested, there are a lot of different courts that have been set up in Richmond County, and there's probably a lot more in other jurisdictions in the nation that help teach people rather than punish them. Because once you have a felony on your record, it becomes harder and harder to get a good job. And so we want to try and come up with different ideas to turn people away from that. Stop thinking it's okay to steal somebody's bike or to break in somebody's car or to break in somebody's house. Because if you break in their house and they're there, that becomes a home invasion, and you can go to jail for a whole lot of years for that. You may have thought they were gone and you were just going to burglarize their house, which just gets you a couple years, but they're home and you threaten them and you're talking 15, 20 years for that. And so we don't want people to even go that direction. But yes, I want to clean up the areas, and I'm not doing it. I absolutely believe that George Floyd was murdered, and I don't know a single soul, black, white, pink, or purple, that thinks otherwise. Nobody has seen that and thinks he was treated right and that he was anything but murdered. And we need to stop the unfair criminal justice system that we have. We need to fix it. We need to work together to do that. I've been to multiple, actually, I think all of the things that they've had here in town to protest, the protests that they've had. And thank goodness that Richmond County had zero violence at any of their protests. Nobody burned, nobody fought. Everybody was there to say, hey, we need a change. So I'm all for that. But yeah, if somebody does wrong, if my kids do wrong, then and they break the law, then they need to pay for it.
Now, see, that's a strong statement there, Steve. So, for me, I mean, I've been around District 1, so I know how it is. It's just, I guess my question, or how I would ask you, is the way I can answer certain questions is like you might can't answer it that way. You know, if I just say, well, yeah, you know, it's crime over there. I know it's X, Y, Z. It's like you have to try to find a way to word it to where it can't be used against you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
It's a little touchy, and rightfully so. I mean, unfortunately, the history of our country is not necessarily a pretty one. White people mistreated. I mean, there was slavery, but then you look at from when slavery was abolished in the late 1800s until the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, different bathrooms, different water fountains. It's horrible. It's stupid. How I made a statement on Facebook a few days ago that anybody who thinks that the color of somebody's skin or lack thereof makes them lesser than you is an idiot. That all racists are idiots. Because I know a lot of dumb white people. I know a lot of dumb white. I mean, I know a lot of smart and beautiful people of all races. If you need surgery, are you going to go to your buddy, whatever color he is, that you knew barely made it through medical school? Or are you going to go to this person of an opposite race that has awards and has saved?
They're the best of the best.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to go to the best. You don't care what color they are. If you
trying to get right,
you're an idiot because you need to get the best care. So I was told the other day, if you don't see color, then that hurts. That offends me that you don't see color. I didn't grow up where color mattered. Yes, I have eyes. I see color. I just don't let that affect how I decide who I'm going to employ, because I have 9 full-time employees. It doesn't help. Has nothing on the effect of if I'm going to rent to you because I have rental property. It just doesn't affect that for me. If that offends anyone, I'm sorry.
Well, I think for at least for me, or I think it's more important like how people in the district, see it. And if you're gonna like fix the issue that need to be fixed, I don't think that they really too concerned with you not seeing color, or but like I said, like, well, he said he don't see color, so but if you fix these issues, that's all. That's what's important. You know what I'm saying? I guess I do have to ask this question. What exactly, in your opinion, or I don't know if it's like a guideline or what, but as far as the commissioner, because like you said, it's a collective effort. That's for everything. So not just District 1, not just you. You got the 6 district commissioners that have to make the decision that I didn't know about till today. You got the police department. You got the board of education. Like all y'all have to work. All the entities have to work together anyway. What does the commissioner like? What I guess powers do you possess, or rather, what do you control?
Okay. Well, a commissioner sets policies and procedures for the county. we decide the budgets for the sheriff, for the fire station, for all the departments. So, and a lot of we sometimes are called because somebody has a pothole in their street. We deal with street lights as far as setting how much we're going to pay for the street lights, and then Georgia Power sends us the bill.
Right.
But we need to we need to adjust fees and so forth to make sure there's enough. We do the budget for the county and every department in it. A commissioner,
as a collective.
Yes.
Okay.
The
gotcha.
mayor of Augusta has very little power. He doesn't even get to vote unless there's a 5-5 tie on the commission. If there's only 8 commissioners and it's a 4-4 tie, the mayor still doesn't get to vote.
How often is that though? Like the tie?
A lot of times, ties don't happen too often because when commissioners know that things are going to happen, one of them abstains, so that the mayor, like you'll have, if somebody knows it's going to be 5-5, and the mayor could come in and make that 6th vote because it takes 6 votes to make something happen. One of the commissioners who knows they don't have enough yeses will abstain, so the mayor can't vote. And it
That's
doesn't
a
get
problem.
anything. It's politics. They say you play these games. I won't mention the commissioner's name, but everybody's going to know who it is. When something doesn't pass that he wants, he just says, "Miss Bonner, put it on next week's commission meeting." And then for weeks and weeks at a time, over and over again. It works though. I can't think of a time when he's put something on there time and time again where it didn't finally get passed.
But when I ask you like what issue that District 1 has, could that be an issue that every district has? The fact that those games are being played when it comes to like making decisions?
Yeah. It's
because that sounds like
we don't have first of all, having 10 commissioners is kind of silly because that's an even number.
Yeah, about to say that
it should
already
be
set
odd
up for
number.
a failure.
Yeah, and it's a very fair system, but sometimes things can be too fair because if everybody is their own person, then you don't have groups. Well, like I'll tell you a great example. I won't tell you who said it, but one of somebody real popular here in Augusta said he was told to make sure do everything he can to keep the 6 black commissioners and 4 white. Because then the 6 black, that's the power, there's 6 commissioners. He said, well, that sounds good in theory, but they never agree. So you can't get all 6 of them to vote on a lot of things. So I'm not going to do that just based on the fact that it doesn't work.
Right.
The theory's good, but in actuality, it doesn't work. He said, we need to really just quit worrying about skin color, and we need to get people in there that have business experience. I own a small business, so he was saying that to benefit me as well. But not just, we keep electing people who've retired and they don't have anything else to do, so put them on commission. And that's not a reason to be a commissioner, just because you have the time.
Commissioner, too. What's the term on that? Like, what's the?
It's you get 4 years. You're allowed to serve 8. So two 4-year terms equal 8. Then you have to take 4 years off. And then you can run again. And that's what Marion Williams did. Marion Williams he's just finishing his 16th year as a commissioner. He took 4 years off in between.
A few times. It's the 16th year?
Well, you can do 8 years. So he did 8 years, took 4 off, did 8 years again.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
So, and term limits, somebody argued with me not too long ago that term limits take away the individual's right to have whoever they want in that office. And in a way, I can see that, but
could you imagine you're doing 8 years right now? Just say you do 8 years and you clean it up, you do a great job, but you gotta take 4 years off. Let's say you come back and now you have to clean up that 4 years.
The concept is you get people in there that can really pull the wool over people's eyes, and they keep doing it, and they're in for 10, 20, 30 years. And people think they're doing well because they don't see some of the things that happen. And I think that's what term limits are for. And I mean, even if I'm at the end of my 8th year, I've done a lot of great things. I'm still going to respect the term limits. Hopefully by my being in there, other commissioners we've met enough, we understand each other enough that we're going to make things go. Because I'm going to take people to lunch. You get paid a whole $1,000 a month to be a commissioner.
I was going to ask you, like,
$12,000 a year.
Because I
There's
actually
no
like
money.
what made you want to do it, because it sounds like it's stressful for one.
Oh, it's gonna
a lot
cost
of problems,
me money,
and it's not. It's the money you get. I'm like the police officers. It's like you're not getting enough money to even do.
And some people want to raise that, and I have no opinion on that because I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it.
So $1,000 a month to be commissioner.
Yeah, and that's before taxes. So you're going to be bringing, yeah.
It got to be some kind of side money there. So I don't know.
You get they did give you a gas card, and
you can drive.
It was you were able to use a couple $100 a month in gas, and I think now they have changed that to where you actually get a stipend, a certain amount to go for gas. So that I think it was $200. Again, with COVID, I just haven't been to the meetings where I used to get this stuff run into my head all the time.
I mean, I'm not asking you this question. I'm asking myself a little bit. Like, why would somebody want to be commissioner then? Just not. I don't like just.
Well, in my case, I came up with an example of, if you're at church, if you're a very avid church member, and your job, and you'll understand this because of the microphones here. If you know that you can set up microphones, you can do the sound system, and he tells you that the preacher tells you they got a new sound system coming in, and they were going to set it up Saturday for the next Sunday service. Well, you got tickets to the game, Georgia game. Who you like, Georgia?
Right.
And so you're not going to do it. So you're looking around, and the only person that raises their hand is somebody you know is going to screw it up.
Got you.
Then you think about how much you love your church and how much God's done for you, and you hand those tickets to somebody else, and you raise your hand, and you go put in that sound system, and you do it right. The problems that I see in District 1 are problems I have solved personally. I've done it on a much smaller scale, but I'm good at talking to people. I grew up in areas that we were talking about earlier that are really diverse. So I believe that joining the commission, talking to the commissioners, taking commissioners and department heads, and people like you who are leaders in the community, who like to communicate and get the information out there, we can bring more humanity to each other. We can learn that, we didn't agree with this, but we like the same football team. We like the same this. Our kids went to the same schools. We were all at the rally a few days ago. I mean, we can learn to understand each other and learn forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Even commissioners that I'm friends with, I've talked to them. Yeah, that meeting didn't go well. When are you going to talk to so-and-so? I'm not talking to him till the next commission meeting. Well, you didn't resolve this. Y'all are still fighting. So if you don't resolve it now before the next commission meeting, it's fighting all over again. But egos get bruised and people get hurt. And I'm not going to be a pushover, but if you do something to hurt me today, I'm going to remember it tomorrow, but I'm not going to get back at you. If you have a good idea tomorrow, then I'm going to listen to your idea, and we're going to make it happen. Now, again, I'm not going to forget, but I'm not. If you don't forgive, how do you move forward? And I learned that from my wife. I can sleep on the couch, or I can just say it's over and move on. And so I really believe that holding on to things and trying to get revenge, that's not getting Augusta anywhere. That's where we're at now. That's why so many people have moved out of Augusta in the last 40 years. Tens of thousands of people have moved out of Augusta in the last 40 years.
From talking to you, like I feel like
District 1 especially. Sorry.
Oh, now I was gonna say, I think that one of the issues I guess I'm listening is it's more in-house with the commissioners. Maybe you said the system is fierce, and maybe somewhere somehow if feelings can get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you're passionate about something, it's kind of hard to. It's one of them lose-lose situations. I can't say that because if you take feelings out of it, do you really care? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to say. But
I care enough to take some of the feelings out of it, to take some of the negative feelings.
Yeah. So it depends on on the view of how you look at the situation. But I guess one of my last questions to you is, from you, why should anyone vote Michael Thurman for Commissioner District 1? Well,
Augusta has been run by the same people forever. A lot of the commissioners there were anointed by the commissioners prior to them and those prior to them. So you've got the same old political-minded people. I didn't get the Sure, Michael, it's your turn. Pat on the back. We're going to support you. I don't belong to any political parties. I don't have an R in front of my name or a D in front of my name. You know, I'm running against the head of the Democratic Party of Richmond County. He once said he's tired of the political games. Just a week ago, he said that during a thing. He belongs to one of the two groups that's all about political games. So I want to get in there and I want to fix some problems. I want to make sure that my kids want to come back to Augusta when they get through with school. I want to make sure that Richmond County Public Schools, which is in the bottom 5% of the schools in Georgia,
Wow.
bottom 5%. And they go, luckily, they were able to pass tests, and one of my kids didn't last year. He finally did this year, pass tests to be able to get into the magnet schools, which are just a few blocks down the street from our house. But Richmond County Public Schools, they need a lot of help, and they need money. And the way they get money is by more people moving into the area. And I have a really great idea of mixing the type of housing we have. I want affordable housing, but I want market rate. And the great thing about that is we're going to do a tax freeze for the elderly in the areas that are being revitalized so that we don't run anybody out. Gentrification has been a word that's been screamed a lot. And that's more affluent people moving into neighborhoods, causing the prices to rise and running the people who lived in the neighborhoods out. And I absolutely refuse to allow that to happen. And two ways we do that is by mixing the areas, by having affordable and market rate, but also freezing the taxes so that people aren't forced out. And so by doing that, we're going to be able to get more people in there, and we're going to have more money for schools, but we're going to provide more public and private partnerships. I want EasyGo to help build the new Dias Park. And not only do I want them to give money or TaxSlayer or whoever's willing to do it, but have their people donate their time to come to Dias Park and play ball with the kids. Have those people live next door to some of the people that live there now. So if they don't have the ability to get a job, well, the guy next door works at EasyGo. You talk to him, get a job through him, and get a ride from him to EasyGo until you get your first few checks and you can buy your own vehicle. We solve each other's problems. We can't wait around. I know Jordan wants, I've got him, he said that he wants the city to spend tens of millions of dollars tearing down houses and doing this revitalization. Well, that money is going to come from taxpayers like you and I. It has to. It doesn't just exist. My way of doing it gets private individuals coming in and taking a lot of the burden off the city and getting the areas looking good. Because when you build a house privately, you have to put in the sidewalks. You have to repave the street in front of it so the city doesn't have to make write those checks.
Right.
So I want to just use some outside the box thinking. I want to motivate other companies who have actually turned their heads on Augusta because of how they've been treated in the past. I want to entice them to come back and do business here. You get people moving down the area, then you're going to get a grocery store. Then you're going to get a shoe store, or you're going to get dry cleaners. You're going to get other businesses.
It's like a domino effect.
And those businesses need workers, and those workers can come from the area. And I employ people who have had felonies, who've done bad things. Now, if I won't hire an ex-rapist, and I won't hire an ex-child molester.
Well, you good in my book.
But if you had problems with drugs in the past, or if you've done something and you've paid your time, and you come across as somebody that would be a hard worker, then I would hire you. If you have the skills necessary for the job, I would absolutely do it. And we need a lot more of that. But we've got to forgive people for indiscretions, but we've got to know the line to draw there as to what indiscretions we forgive.
Well, Election Day is Tuesday, August 11th.
Yes, sir.
It's the big day. Nervous?
Oh, yeah. I've been working my tail off.
Well, this is a good talk, good conversation. I did learn a lot. I didn't know some of the stuff that you said prior to talking to you, so that's great. Talks like these are always amazing. I like to get my audience, my listeners, information out there as well. Even if, like I said, they might not be in District 1, it might be, but just hearing it allow you to ask them questions in your district, or even just find out what district you live in. People might not even know what district they live in.
A lot of people don't know.
You might, if we did a random video of what district you live in, people may not know for real. They don't know nothing.
I showed you the map of District 1. It's so weird when people tell me their address. I'm like, part of that street is, part of it isn't. What's your address? And I pull my phone out and I get on Augusta GIS.
You need a new census. That's crazy.
It's weird, but nope, you're not in my district. Or yep, you sure are. You didn't vote last time if you don't know who your commissioner is. And there's 30% voter turnout this last time. It might have been 32%, very low. When I ran last time, it was a 27% voter turnout. It's crazy. Whoever doesn't vote in this election doesn't need to say a thing.
That's how
in a negative about what's going on in Augusta.
And I always feel like, to me, I think local elections are always more important to me. It's my personal than presidential because it affects you directly.
Yeah.
Like when you walk out the house, it's affecting you by not voting or choosing to neglect issues surrounding your district.
I think local is far more important. Now, I don't mean to discount national. You need to
do all you can, but you should really be
the federal government is not going to decide whether water is coming to your house or not. They're not going to decide if police officers are going to come or the fire department is going to come when your house is on fire. Local is so important. So please get out and vote on August 11th. Actually, you don't even have to wait till August 11th. Early voting started this past Monday.
Yep.
You can go to the municipal building from 8:30 to 6 Monday through Friday for this week, next week, and the following week. And I think the last week they're actually opening, if they're doing the same ones, they're going to be opening up another couple places for people to go. I know there's only three districts being elected in the runoff, so I'm not sure which ones they're going to be. But
well, I know with COVID going on and just the election time and trying to make these last little few pushes to get people awareness, just understand know who you are, just about voting. I do wish you the best. I wish that you don't run yourself crazy. I know it can be difficult. Every time I see you now, it's like you always on the move. So, I wish you the best, and just I'm proud that you're doing this. And like I said, when I met you years ago, I didn't see you doing any kind of politics. You just always about business,
Yeah.
So,
it was never my intention. I'd never had a dream of being a politician.
Even when I heard it, I kept thinking it was a different Michael Thurman. I was like, that's not
going to be me. I'm not going to. I know people say they're not going to change. I'm going to be me. I'm not going to gain a big head because I've already got employees. I've got tenants. I have responsibilities. I have kids. I have a wife.
I don't know now. You're getting that $1K a month now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, big money.
But this was good talking to you, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you. More Masters Podcast. Make sure y'all message me. Any information you need, I'll be more than happy to give it to you. I will tag you in this or send it to you and put it out.
Can I give my phone number?
Give everything out.
My personal cell phone number is 706-306-6070. That has been my phone number for 20 years. And it still is. So please call me if you have any questions whatsoever. We need to change the way things are done. And we need to make sure that we work together and don't expect the government to fix the problems. Work with the government to help fix the problems you have. But make sure you call the sheriff's office. You call engineering. Get the 311 app or call 311 if there's problems in your neighborhood. Because a lot of times people say this has been happening for years, but I talked to engineering. They never heard of it. Somebody reported it and they never did. So the biggest problem we have in Augusta is communication.
Seems like it.
A lot of us want the same things. We may want it a little shade different here or there, but we want safe places to live. We want good education for our kids, and we want to be able to enjoy our lives. We want good jobs, and we can have those if we just open our hearts and work together to make things happen. Because my two philosophies: one, well done is better than well said, and I've been doing for 30 plus years. And my other saying that I've come up with a lot is together we can accomplish anything. And it's absolutely true.
Well, they say teamwork make the dream work. So
there you go.
And I want to close with saying, when you say communication, it's part speaking up, but also part listening.
Yes, absolutely.
Just make sure you remember that when you trying to communicate with someone.
I'm gonna have quarterly meetings, and if there's a demand, I'll move it to monthly. But the commissioners in that area, they never had them. So quarterly is way more than what you've been getting. But I've got to find places that'll do it, and see how much community involvement I can get, because people aren't very involved. The commission meetings are almost empty unless there's something big. It's just it's you would be amazed at how much people complain, but how little people actually vote or take an active interest in getting the right people in there, or just letting people know what the problems are in the area. So thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. I hope you able to address and fix some of these issues, and then maybe it'd be a domino effect. Maybe y'all can all start getting along. You get 6 out of 10 votes on a regular, Leave the mayor alone, who knows. But all right, baby, More Than Masters podcast.